Welcome, Candice. Thank you so much for being here. It's so nice to meet you.
For having me. Hi everyone. Hi. I can't see you guys. I've made you guys really tiny, so I can't see you and I'm not distracted. But hi.
They're there. Well, hopefully they'll be in the chat box letting you know that they're there. Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. Thank you for writing this book. We love it. We're reading it. We're working through it over 2 months. So we're just in the toolbox kit at the moment, although quite a few people finished it already because they're being very swotty and they've loved it so much. But how are you today, Candice? Where are you? Looks like you're in your wardrobe.
I'm in my infamous closet. I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm training for London Marathon and it's really wiped me out. I'm just constantly tired and I've reached that part in training. My longest run is going to be 4 hours this weekend. And so like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's not even that, especially when you're training for a marathon, there comes a point where fitness isn't the issue. It's not lack of fitness. It's time on the feet. It's boredom. There's only so many Beyonce albums and podcasts that are just going to keep you going through this, you know? So I am so ready, April 27th, to put this marathon to bed because I'm knackered.
Yeah. And I suppose it's like you just want it to be here probably, don't you? Because you've been doing this
Yeah.
training and sharing it.
Also, out of fear, I started marathon training early. So typically everyone's training blocks is 16 weeks. Mine's going to be like closer to 19 because I was really new to running. I just finished a competition called High Rocks, which is
Mhm.
like running and strength combined. And I remember training for High Rocks, the 8 kilometers scared me like doo-doo list for less of a better word. So to come out of High Rocks, do really well in that and now go straight into this, I'm like, yeah, I'm bored. I'm just very bored.
So and I'm ready. Also, in the book, you talk about how you've said no to the marathon quite a few times already. So you
Yeah.
must feel like you're kind of ready to do it now.
Yeah. I was like, okay, now I'm ready. And I'm now at a place with, and I want to use the term fitness loosely because it really, when we get to the root of it, it has very little to do with fitness. I'm now in a place of self-acceptance and wanting to celebrate myself so much that I always need a goal up ahead. If I was
Mm.
just like, oh, I'm just going to run for fun. Who's just going to run for fun? That sounds like hell. I need, like, we're doing this on this day at this time. And that's what keeps me going, you know? It's such a great,
Brilliant.
fitness is such a great way to give yourself a pat on the back every day. And I think we are far too reliant, especially women, and the way we're socialized has a lot to do with that. And social media now has even more to do with that. We are very reliant on other people giving us a gold star, the validation, the
Mm.
likes, the you're doing a good job, you're a good wife, friend. Like, no, me crushing it on a fitness goal is all the self-validation that I need. And so
Mm.
that's the way I look at this journey now. It's like, oh, well done, babe. You did that, you know?
Well done. And people are saying in the chat already, High Rocks is hardcore for a start, never mind the marathon. But also, I love how you talk in the book, in the wellness pillar, you
Yeah.
talk just about movement and you kind of reframe fitness anyway, as like, it doesn't need to
Yeah.
be about fitness necessarily. It's about just, so it's really that part I think is so good for people who are struggling with movement or
Yeah.
haven't been able or aren't able to, for whatever reason, get fit.
Yeah. And it's again like let's take fitness out of the chat. The science behind movement, the energy of moving your body from one place to another is so important. Once a week, I do a 2 hour walk with my best friend. She moved
Mm.
nearby like almost 2 years ago. And so we walk around a beautiful lake once a week. And it has had the most beautiful impact on my mental health. Or like there's things that I could phone and tell her that I'm like, no, hold off, we're going to save it for the hot girl walk. This is
Yeah.
like an in-person moment. So it's so much, and a 2 hour walk feels so leisurely. But by the time I get home, I'm up like 17,000 steps and I feel great. And I've shared a moment with someone who I really care about. It's amazing.
That's lovely. So do
Yeah.
you have that your routine is probably a bit different now than what it normally is, but do you have a normal morning or evening routine that you could share with us?
Oh, morning. We do not. One thing that doesn't change is I do not reach for my phone until as late as possible. With the kids, maybe it's like 8:30. If I'm by
Mhm.
myself in a hotel working somewhere, I'm gonna try and push that to 9 o'clock. I have no interest in what the world has to say before I've had a conversation with myself.
Mm.
especially the news cycle. Our news, that the algorithm of news is built to feed fear and negativity. And I can appreciate we shouldn't want to be ignorant to the news, because I do say this in the book, but you have to know when you can dial in and dial out. And I genuinely don't think our news feeds or the opinions, you know, when you're scrolling, the opinions of hundreds of people before you've
Yeah.
had a coffee or gone for a walk, it's just an absolute no-no. It really sets the temperature for the day. Then the second thing I want to do is get outside, no matter the weather. Even if I'm standing in the garden in my coat, I have to be outside. I like to drink my coffee outside. I like to let the dog out and have a bit of fresh air. It's not all the time, I'm not going to lie, because I'm human. I typically like to meditate for 10 to 15 minutes. That's my sweet spot. 20
Mhm.
minutes, again, I get bored really easily. I think you guys can tell I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so bored, whatever. This ain't working anymore. But those 10 to 15 minutes are really important, especially with something like the marathon coming up, because I typically use those meditations to visualize, like, what's the final kilometer going to feel like? Who am I going to see on the route? If I really like to almost play make believe in meditation.
Mhm.
That's what I use
Mhm.
meditation for, because I think as we get older, there are so few spaces in our day where we can be childlike. It's just you have to be always on, always serious, the to-do list, acting like you have it all together. And genuinely, when my three kids come to me and they're like, oh, what's for dinner? Have you signed my planner? Sometimes I just want to laugh and be like, who the heck left me in charge? And why do you have the audacity to think that I'm the one you should? I just find that I'm just like, there are so many elements, I think, of all humans that are still so childlike ourselves. And, you know, for me, that's quite heightened because I have huge parental wounds on both
Mm.
sides. So I'm dealing with a huge gaping mother wound because I've been estranged from my mum for maybe 6, 7 years now. My dad's been dead for over 20 years. And there are so many huge adult moments where I'm like, oh, I could really use a hand, you know, or
Yeah.
there is no one to look up to. There is no parent, no fairy godmother. And sometimes I just need 10 to 15 minutes in the morning to give childlike Candice some space to play or feel sad, or just be like, I wish there was someone walking me through this moment.
Mm.
That's the morning routine typically.
Yeah, and it's just giving yourself some peace, isn't it? Like before all the inputs in the world comes in and wants everything and wants you to be grown up and or needs you to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you kind of touched on this already, that you said you're in a place where you want to be kind of approving, self-respecting and
Mhm.
self-loving. So how would you describe your relationship with yourself right now? Do you have a
Oh,
word or a phrase?
you've got me at a great time, sweetheart. I am at an all-time high. And my personal trainer, who now is he's such a dear friend. I remember like marching into the gym in February after having a gritty 12 months, horrific 12 months, actually. I transitioned my business, I changed management after finding out my lead agent was trolling me online.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
So,
Oh,
yeah, that there are a lot of things that I don't bring to a public forum because it's perhaps going to create a discussion that I can't control. And
yeah.
in a space like this, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm willing to share that. But I'm very aware of how when you give that kind of gossip to the
Mm.
internet, you know, the conversation can just be taken out of your hands. And so there are things so yeah, it was a horrible 12 months. And I had for those 12 months fought valiantly to control everything. And my grip was just getting tighter and tighter. And the tighter the grip got, the less things seemed to work out. I was getting frustrated, situations were becoming heightened. And I stormed into the gym in February and I was like, that's it. I give up. I do not care. I do not want to drive this anymore. And what's really interesting is the year prior to 2025, my word of the year was ease. So I pick, instead of New Year's resolutions, I pick one word for the year. And I try and make everything lead towards that word. And my gosh, I'd really struggled to lead with that word in 2024. And I marched into the gym that day and I was like, I choose ease. I don't know how I'm getting it. but I don't want this friction in my life anymore. And he brought it up today. He brings it up at least once a week. He's like, I still think back to that day in February. He was like, you have not been the same since. This isn't to say that you don't get upset or frustrated because you're human, but he was like, there is such a lightness about you that I'm sure has come with you deciding that you deserve a more easeful life. And so now I just feel on top of the world, which also feels very questionable. I'm still dealing with a lot of family stuff. Running this business is trying to send me to an early grave. There are so many reasons as to why I shouldn't feel this way, but I just do. I feel great and I feel cosmically unbothered. I'm just like, oh, even before we jumped on this call, I checked my WhatsApps and every manager and agent's like, we need this, we need that. And I just typed like, none of us are saving lives. It can it can wait. It could
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
It can't, you know, just bring
Yeah.
it down a touch. And by bringing everything down, coincidentally, I've kind of risen off the floor. It's like I'm levitating. I'm just like, what will be, will be. I am the center of my own universe, and I've decided to think more positively. And I do think it shows. I think it shows.
I love Cosmically Unbothered. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yes. Well, and like as you say in the book and in your all your work, it's how you feel. You get what you feel, isn't it? So it's not about what they want, what you want. It's like, so if you can get yourself to that place of like peace, it's not necessarily happiness all the time, but it's also like a peace, isn't it?
It's just a piece, and it's also, you know, and I really I say it so much in the book. You do get what you get what you are. You do
Yeah.
not get what you ask for or what you don't dream about. You get very quickly what you emulate, what radiates out of you. And it's like I sometimes I test it for fun. I'm like, I'll be driving and I'll get a bit sassy. And of course, I'm going to meet a racer boy who tries to run me off the road. It's a literal magnetic attraction. And then I arrive at my destination and I'm annoyed, even though I don't know the person's name and I can't pick them up. And then on a similar day, I can just wake up and be like, okay, I'm going to listen to this gorgeous playlist and it's going to be a peaceful drive. And it always is. And I'm so very concerned with how much society, again, especially social media, wants to plug us with the idea that we don't even have control over how we feel about ourselves. That's a very, very dangerous thing. And that danger is also purposeful because it keeps us leaning on their algorithms, or even further now, really scary AI, and all of these things and these tools and tricks they want to sell back to us to almost buy back our self-validation and our self-confidence. And I'm like, I'm absolutely not falling for that. Sorry.
No, it's like it's choice, isn't it? Like you're
Yeah.
choosing. I mean, it's interesting as well, though, that even you sometimes forget
Yeah, all
like,
the time.
and then it gives you and it kicks and it reminds you. The universe will remind you.
All the time. And you know what? I have allowed myself to recognize that I'm going to forget for the rest of my life. Why? I say it in the book. I'm still working on 35 years of being programmed one way, being raised in a space where I was told I wasn't enough. You can't have that. That's not for you. I don't care what your intuition says. We've never seen a woman like you do that. So that absolutely cannot happen. That is not going to change overnight. And I'm perhaps going to go to my grave still battling with some of those demons that I'm like, meh, 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 you're not good enough. Or, you know, maybe just lead with negativity. If they go low, go lower. That's going to be there forever. And, you know, to some degree, I also appreciate that because it makes the highs so high. It makes the peace so peaceful that I am very quickly now able to eradicate the people who aren't willing to meet me on that level. Or I can walk into a room of 100 people and quickly be like, not a vibe, not a vibe, not a vibe, not a vibe, not
Really?
yeah, I'm trained really well at that now because I know the kind of energy I want to surround myself with. I'm really careful about that, really careful about it. No, most of us, if not all of us on this call, you know, we want to better ourselves. And so I'm sure we've heard this term bandied about a lot, breaking the generational curse. You know, you want to be the one that transforms your lineage or makes things better. This is not going to be an easy task. And I think a lot of the rhetoric or the books we read, the podcasts we listen to, they're very glamorous. Be the generational change, you know, don't do what your mother and father did. It's going to be the hardest climb of your life. Because whether you like it or not, we are genetically coded to be just like them, to very easily fall into certain patterns and certain habits that then produce the same kinds of abuse and or pain. It's so easy to be done. So I promise you, I'm not saying this flippantly. It's something I'm working on every day. And I think I can speak with ease about it because I've done like 6 years of therapy.
Yeah.
Like I've been through the trenches, you know. I'm like, this is what it is. And my gosh, girl, are we going to use the energy and the tools now, hoping and waiting that things are going to change? Or are we going to cut ourselves adrift and build better, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's understanding that there's going to be work involved, but that that you're ready for it and you want it. So it's kind of like almost like bring it on and then bracing yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A few people have said in the chat earlier as we've been going through, it's about trust. Like it's trusting yourself and maybe trusting source and
You know,
yeah.
you know, trust it, like literally. And again, that's what ease comes with. It's a complete level of faith. And you know, I do sometimes call source God, and in the depths of all of this pain, I was having regular conversations with source, and I was like, what the heck have you got me going through? And the feedback kept being, you are so focused on what you know, on the thing you want or you didn't get, that you consistently miss all I've blessed you with. And that was like a punch in the chest. I was like, oh, you didn't have to do that. But like the reoccurring message was like, I know, I get it. I know you wish your parents were better. I know you wish you had a better childhood. I know you wish, you wish, you wish. But look at the tail end of all of this. You are now the matriarch of a family that you once dreamt about. Your kids know for sure that you would never hurt or harm them. There is such peace in your home that it's the first space your friends think of in danger, in need, for a moment of respite. Please get it together. Like the
Yeah.
attitude of gratitude is not hitting right now. I was like, well, okay.
You did ask.
I get the point. I get
And you're also the matriarch of this movement, showing people that this is possible for you, regardless of where you're from, regardless of who you grew up with, regardless of what you look like. It's like this manifestation, these tools are available to you. So I think, as well as like we talk about, yeah, the great wardrobe and all that stuff, it's like everything you've just talked about is showing people that it's not, you can't use these as excuses to not move
Oh,
up and forward.
yeah. And you know, the great wardrobe is actually just a physical manifestation of the work I've done and how I feel about myself. And I know we are so coded with manifestation to just see stuff or want to manifest stuff. But there had to be so much deeper work for me to even reach the stuff. I couldn't attract any of this in those spaces with those people, not thinking I was deserving. You're not going to get a Carrie Bradshaw wardrobe, babe. You're just not. Because on the deeper level, you don't even think you're worthy of taking up space, of protecting yourself, of having your voice heard. All of those things come before the stuff. And what's
Yeah.
really interesting, I say it in the book, and I said it to my PT today, the more stuff I attract, the less I care. It's wonderful. It's amazing. Universe, I know you can hear me, so please don't take it away. It's great. But I'm not now like, oh, okay. If it comes, I'm so grateful. And if it goes, I'm equally grateful to have had it pass through my life. And I'm also really big on the idea of loaning. Our bodies are on loan, time is on loan. The way the climate's going, my gosh, Earth is on loan. And when you start to think about your life like that, oh my God, I don't actually own anything. Yes. So what? I pay a mortgage. I don't own anything, because the second the universe is like, okay, we are done with this physical body, then what? This idea of ownership, if we can just push that aside, I think manifesting becomes easier, because it's so much easier to ask for a loan. Oh, could I just could I just borrow the car that I kind of like? Could I just could I just be the custodian of the house of my dreams? Could I just borrow this friend? It's all on loan. And so I feel really grateful to be the custodian of the stuff, of the thoughts, of the feelings. But also, the way I show gratitude is by sharing, the books, the talks. And before we even went live, I was saying to you, buy the book or don't. I'm not a hard sell kind of gal. There's never gonna be like, code off, link in bio, buy the way I'm telling you to live so you can live like me. No, like, just jump on an Instagram live and I'll tell you whatever you want to know. Like, none of this should be I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't believe in gatekeeping. And I hope I'm doing the best by the universe by just being like, sure, yeah, I can tell you how I made that happen. The high likelihood is it would be very different for you, because we've all got different challenges and personal hurdles to work through. But I'm an open book.
And I think just sharing it is like, it's that like state of abundance, isn't it? There's enough for everyone. It's like, me holding on to this isn't going to help me get any more.
Yeah, there's just, and especially in my, and I won't lie, I speak about it a bit in the book, and I try and be as honest as I can now. At the beginning of my career, oh, I was the opposite of abundance. It was all lack, lack, lack. Oh, she got the job, I'm not going to get the job. Why have I not been invited to that event? Why am I not on that PR list? Oh my gosh, do they hate me? What do I have to do to be in the in club? Woo! Thank God I've come through, because you have to go through. You can't go around. You can't skip it. You do
Damn
have
it.
Yeah, you got to go through those feelings. And now I'm coming out the other end. I'll see my peers at an event that maybe I didn't get invited to. I still double tap, oh, babe, you look good. Because I'm just not in fear. I'm always where I am supposed to be. And I feel that so deeply. If I wasn't invited to that space, it's because there's no need for me to be in the room. It's absolutely fine. Also, that I think I do such a good job of being as clean-hearted as I can, that even if I'm not in the room, I know the universe is going to send 10 people who speak positively about me in that space. I'm not, I've got a very loose grip on the world and on the ideas and all the stuff. I'm just like, it's just not worth it.
Cosmically unbothered. That's going to be the phrase of the, I love it. I love it. But also the fact that you've kind of moved from lack then to cosmically unbothered shows it is a practice.
Absolute practice. And of course, if you've been born in lack, and when I say lack, like, I remember when Esme was born, it was like that night, it was gas meter or Pampers, the night we brought her home. And that is the coldest winter I felt. It was the winter of 2013. It was like -8 outside. And we chose Pampers and we all like huddled in the bed together. Esme's only 11. That in the idea of time, that's like an eyelash. So to go from like my first child being born and feeling the pinch financially, to now being in like this Carrie Bradshaw wardrobe, there had to be a lot of work that happened, and this idea that I was deserving, and also not tying my biography to lack. And for a long time, I did that. For a long time, that was always the story I led with. I don't have much. I come from nothing, yada, yada, yada. Okay, babe, wrap it up. We've all got a sob story to tell. Wrap it up. That's not only is that no longer who you are, it's not who you're destined to be. So why is that the first story you tell yourself and everybody else? Could we set a higher vibration? Could we tell a better story? And so I did. I started to tell a better story. And for a few years, it felt like a lie. That's how it would be
Right.
positioned as a lie. Like, oh, but you don't have that thing yet. Why are you speaking like that? Why are you walking like, you know, you don't have any cares in the world? I was just like, no, but I know it's coming. I believe so divinely it's coming that I'm going to
Hmm.
start living energetically like that right now. And
Yeah.
so my energy now, I think, is a precursor for what is coming my way in, say, the next 5 years. Because I'm just
Hmm.
like, I've already got it. I've already had it. I've already experienced it. It's lovely. There is no need to sweat through this waiting period. Because also,
No.
the more we sweat and cling, the longer the waiting period is going to be.
Yeah, sure. I love at the end of the book, so I'm not going to give too much away, but at the end of the book, when you talk about that exercise you do where you go into the future and you pretty much had
Yes.
this out of body experience and you saw yourself in a like quite like not that far in the future, but it was pretty epic.
Like, and I see her all the time. And yesterday I was working with Peloton, and someone was like, oh, who's your role model? And I was like, I hate to be cocky, but it's me at 40, because I
Yeah,
can see her so clear, like crystal
yeah,
clear. And I'm like, go on, girl. Like, how did we get here? This is so cool. And so it's like, I'm so prepped and primed and energized to meet who I know I'm destined to be. I think, though, again, because of how the state of the world is and how capitalism is made to work, um, the further away the world can pull us away from who we know we're destined to be, the easier their job is to try and fill the
mhm,
gap. Buy this thing, sign up here, do this, do that. You know, put all your attention in trying to we're trying to trick you into believing that we know you better than you, so we
yeah,
can fix you. It's an absolute lost space. I've had so much work to do that now I'm just like, no, I can see it and I feel it, and I already live it. I live it.
amazing. Right, so now you need to tell us how to do that in 20 minutes.
Honestly, it starts with like bite-sized steps. So even this area that I'm living in, I used to consistently walk around here. Like I used to
Mm,
put this area into my daily walk, and I'd walk so slowly, and I'd imagine myself coming out one of the houses. And also, everyone on this call has to get comfortable with being perceived as crazy. If you're
yeah.
not willing to be perceived as crazy, just log off the Zoom right now, because
Everyone relates, please, in the chat box.
everyone's
Yeah, we're
everyone
in.
they're gonna think you're crazy, you know? Like what? Because your current reality is not aligning with the way you're moving, or you know, why are you walking a mile out of your way every day just to be in a different area? Because I want to literally seep it into my DNA. I want to know how it feels to be in this space. I want to feel deserving in this space. I'm gonna sit and eat at the local coffee shop, you know? So it's
Yeah.
just about making those little tweaks of designing your day around how it would be if you lived in your dream space with your dream free time. I think so many of us play that game of, I'll do that when I have that.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'll make that my routine when that's my reality, you know. The steps you need to take to make it your reality has to come before that routine. And it's like slowly but
Hmm.
surely you're pulling your dream desired life towards yourself. And then one day, and guys, you'll probably log off the Zoom again, because this is no quick fix. And when I say one day, it could potentially, given the work most of us have to do, it could be 5 years. But one day you're going to wake up and be like, oh, I'm the
Hmm.
leader of my own time. I
Yeah.
There is not a day that I don't pull up to my house and for half a second it takes my breath away. Not a
Yeah.
day. It never gets old, because Candice, who was born on the estate in Somerleyton, Brixton, is just like, how the heck did you do that? She's just like, I kind of knew, but how did you pull that off?
Mm.
You know? And one day you're going to wake up and it might even be a mate or a partner who's just like, did you do that? You just put your head down and you were like, every day I'm going to do
Hmm.
something that pulls this person towards me. Apparently, in this vision, I had this meditation. 40-year-old me doesn't drink coffee, which I think is absolutely insane, because I can go through maybe 6 a day. So we've got a long way to go. But because I saw that in this meditation, I was like, okay, 2 of these coffees a day, I'm going to make them decaf.
Uh-huh.
Look,
And so
you
it
know,
starts.
so it's like, okay, I will slowly creep my way towards this version of myself who looked very healthy, very happy. She looked amazing. So I'm like, okay, if I know that that's what I want for myself, what tiny steps can I take now? Do not
Yeah.
overwhelm with yourself with the idea that you have to overhaul your whole life and do 20 million things at one time. Oh, no, 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 no. This is not how this works. But you
Mm-hmm.
will reach a point where sometimes I don't even want to manifest a thing because I'm so damn good at it now. Sometimes the speed takes me, I'm like, oh, I wasn't ready. Hold, 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 hold. Send it back to the factory. Like, I was just thinking about it. You don't, like, you
That's
don't,
amazing. That's a nice problem to have, I
I'm
imagine,
like,
most of the time.
slow down. Because, but that's the other thing with becoming our dream self or getting the things that you desire. I can't remember if I say this in the book, but it's something I always think about. An old Jamaican auntie once said to me, many men, she meant people, many men can acquire, few can maintain. So lots of people can get lots of things, but they struggle to keep them.
Yeah.
And I think even in the realm of total abundance and manifestation, that I am now in maintenance mode.
Yeah.
I would just like to know how to maintain this life that I built, maintain my self-value, maintain this peace, this ease, this sanity. I am no longer like waiting outside the door, metaphorically, for more to be delivered. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, this is so beyond my wildest dreams. We can pause. It's okay. I can enjoy this and I can enjoy it without the fear of it being snatched away. Because when you come from lack for a really long time, you find you're just holding your breath because you're like, oh my God, is today the day where it's all going to come crumbling down? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all I knew as a young child was like literally hiding in one of the bedrooms from bailiffs. Like
No.
I knew that
Yeah.
sound and I knew to just get down on the floor and like not answer the door. So when that's like it's weaved into your nervous system,
Yeah.
when you do start to get closer to this dream version of your life, you spend so much time like, well, is today the day where it all just is? Oh, yeah. Oh. And that has been, I think, the hardest thing for me to do because that fear does sometimes creep in. But I did even hear Oprah say that Oprah,
Mm-hmm.
millionaire Oprah, I heard her say once in an interview that feeling never leaves.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
I don't think she could run out of anything in 5 lifetimes. But when you come from such lack and the what it does to your brain space, and I don't just mean financial, but there was certainly a lack of love and support in my house. It just does something to your brain where it tricks you into this idea that you have to constantly live in fear. And so
Mm-hmm.
moving through that can be tremendously tricky, but that's what I like to call the maintenance period. It's the period of
Yeah.
gratitude, it's the period of taking it slow. I'm not waking up every day thinking, what can I manifest? Most days I wake up and I'm like, I still can't believe this is my life. And I'm so
Mm.
grateful for it. And I don't mind if you send more, but could we please send more with the knowledge that whatever you're sending doesn't lead to complete overwhelm. It just helps steady this moment, you know?
Yeah. I like the fact you used the word built, Candice, because I think that's what you have done, and that's what you're talking about in the book. And we'll talk about some of the techniques now, maybe, but it's like the idea that you're building. So it's not just going to disappear. It's like it's work and you built it. And when you talk about that, like 5 years, 10 years, that time's going to pass anyway, isn't it? It's going to pass.
Yes, and I love that you said that because I can see people like switch off when that happens, and I'm like, but dude, hopefully you're well enough that that time's going to pass anyway. So what are
Yeah.
you planning to do with that time? I
Yeah.
would rather get into the building and allow those 5 years to pass than we do nothing because it's like, oh, 5 years is a really long time. The 5 years pass and we've done nothing in moving towards who we desire to be. And another thing I found is the more I've moved towards who I desire to be, the more I've had to understand that so much of what I thought I desired wasn't actually my desire. It's what the
Mm.
world said I should desire based on their idea of success.
Yeah. And
I
also
have,
maybe based on your idea of success, like little Candice's, it
yeah, and
changes, doesn't it, as you
changing.
change?
I'm like, oh no, no, no. Like one of my wildest dreams now is to like just delete my entire digital footprint and live as a nomad and be like an art collector. Like that is my, you know,
Yeah.
I'm like, but we're told like be front facing or I don't know, be a pop star or whatever. And it's like, no, the more you allow ease to come into your life and you work with the tools of manifestation, you might be pretty shocked at what you define as success or what
Hmm.
actually makes you happier. Because I've seen, especially a lot of women reach a certain age and they start to do these practices, and it's like divorce, sell the home, they've moved to
Yeah.
Bali, they're like,
New job
yeah, they're like,
goes
that's
over.
it's never what I wanted. And
Yeah.
you know, there were so many conflicting messages and things I said that I should do by 35, 40, 45, and it's all rubbish. And I'm now only realizing at 37, I get to change my life whenever I want. Whenever
Hmm.
I want, I get to say, oh no, let's just rip that page out. Let's design a new version of Candice. And I never saw that growing up. I saw that women were often, especially women, they were often given their roles
Hmm.
and they thought they just had to see them through. Like, I have to be this homemaker, I have to be this person. And typically the roles that women are given are always in service to someone else. It's
Hmm.
so rare they're in service to ourselves first and foremost. And so to be part of a generation of women who maybe for the first time in our female generational lineage are like, no, I chose my job and I've chosen not to have children and I'm going to move halfway across the world. It's a really powerful thing to watch happen.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Let's talk then quickly because we're nearly out of time. I could talk to you all night, and I know everyone could be listening all night. Everyone's like, yeah. Let's talk about some of the techniques then from the toolbox. What's
Oh,
like you talk about meditation a lot, about gratitude a lot, but I love ASKfirmations. So what should we talk about?
uh, yeah. Let's do the and I always struggle with this word, guys. Don't laugh. The affirmations that always gets me. But I struggle with affirmations. That whole standing in the mirror. I'm so pretty. I'm so. And one day I was just like, okay, so what if we make these questions?
Mhm.
Why am I so pretty? Why am I so valued? Source, universe, God, show me the ways in which, prove to me why I'm so loved or why I'm so talented. And it just allows your brain to spiral because I think an affirmation is pretty closed. It's like, I don't know, I'm so pretty because my year 9 boyfriend had a crush on me. It's very like, okay, that's the only answer to that. Whereas when you pose that question of yourself, your brain is just like meandering, like, well, you're great here and you look beautiful because of this. There's so many ways to answer that question. And
Mhm.
that's what we're trying to do because what we're trying to do is raise our vibration constantly, especially in a world that's always trying to find ways to devalue or undermine you. And I think posing questions yourself is a far more powerful way to do that, especially in alignment with gratitude. Again, like there are so many, for people on this call who might follow me or read my work or whatever, so much of what I've spoken about tonight, people are just going to go away and be like, I had no idea. Yeah, because I just lead with gratitude. There is a bit like my closet, there's a whole load of messy shit back here. But I'm just like, hey guys, look at the shoes. Like, just tilt the camera that way. There is
Yeah.
also so much good happening that I think
Mm.
we just don't respect enough, or, because it's our normal, we forget to be grateful for it. And I'm really lucky in my workspace that I consistently meet people who have things I take for granted every day. I'm working with cancer charities. I'm working with people, who are fleeing abusive relationships or, facing homelessness. And I'm like, get a grip. This isn't to say it's easy, but there's always something to be grateful for. So the
Mhm.
gratitude in alignment with an arts formation for me is like where all the power is at. Yes, I think scripting and vision boarding actually, what I find more powerful than scripting, so like writing your dream day or your ideal life, for me is recording a voice note There's something really powerful about playing that note back to yourself. It can almost be quite hypnotic to hear you speak about yourself in the way that you dream and desire. But whilst all those things are so powerful, nothing is more, I always go back to it, than dealing with feeling. Feeling must always come first, because you cannot trick this energy. You can't trick the universe, because it can tell that you're faking it, or you're lying, or you don't feel that way about yourself yet. And you need to find what makes you feel good. Is it Pilates? Is it walking the dog? Is it going out with your girls? And you need to learn to not put yourself last. You know, I'm going to find 2 times this week where I'm going to put myself first. And the only rule here is to feel good. What is
Yeah.
it? Because the magic that happens when you know, and then we just do that thing. Oh, it was such a coincidence. I just bumped into this person. No, because you were energetically vibrating at the highest, because you felt good. And so then you attracted more things that the universe knows is going to make you feel good. And so
Yeah.
I'm very like, the best playlist for me, it's always without lyrics. So like I'm really into like soft house jazz at the moment, but I like to put that on first thing in the morning. I should have said that at the top of the call. And even my son, he's like, oh, no jazz house this morning, because everyone's like, doo-doo-doo. But it's just a tiny thing that just takes everything up a notch, you know, and everyone is now in a far better mood. So those are just a few of the practices I do, you know. I'm just like, there are deeper practices. Yes, look, I've got one here. I do crystal work. I cleanse with Palo Santo and sage. I know all about the moon, but I didn't go into that in Manifesto, because depending on your level, that can be really off-putting, or it's just too much too
Agreed.
soon for people, you know. I'm like, okay, Candy, slow your horses. But the first thing I want everyone on the call to do is allow themselves to feel good. You are worthy and valued enough to spend time on yourself to feel good. You cannot keep putting yourself last, and you cannot keep guilting yourself out of feeling good, because if you haven't done it for a long time, the first thing that's going to happen is your brain's going to go, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, do you
Yeah.
know how much washing I've got to get back to? I've got,
Candice, there's so many people on the call that need to hear this. I know, because
you know,
every time I'm saying, Karen, I'm looking at you, by the way. every
I've got,
every time I say morning routine or all this kind of stuff, it's like, yeah, but I haven't got the time to do that for me, because there's all this other stuff to do.
and the thing is, Karen, whoever's on the call, it even is going to be you getting up 15 to 10 minutes earlier to just spend time with yourself, because you get to set the tone of the day. You can't allow the kids or the husband or the partner or the boss to set the tone for you. You set the tone of the day. And all of a sudden, it just becomes a domino effect. And again, you're going to be like, oh, that's so, nothing is a coincidence. Because you've now had a moment, 10 to 15 minutes to, I don't know, meditate, journal, drink your coffee in peace, whatever. Watch how the universe conspires to go, okay, she thinks she's really special. And you know what? I agree. Let's make this a level day for her, you know? It's so important. Sorry, guys, I'm just getting
Yeah.
carried away.
No, it's fine. It's like it's 8 o'clock. We need to say goodbye soon. But I feel like before we go, I should tell you that everyone on this call would buy your crystals book. So you definitely wouldn't we, guys? We're in for that kind of stuff. But thank you so much. It's been so awesome to talk to you, and thank you for sharing so much. It's so nice to just like learn about you, and you've been so generous with that. So I really appreciate that.
Oh no, thank you for listening, guys. And I think sharing on that level is really important, because it's so easy to put a book like this out into the world and for the perception to be, well, of course she's writing this book. Her life is perfect. She's got it all figured out. There are so many working parts to getting towards my desired self. And trust me, guys, I'm still a work in progress. Can you guys hear me? Thanks, guys. I'm reading all you lot's comments.
Are you reading? I just wondered, can we try and do a group shot just before you go, if that's possible?
I don't know how it works. Do I just
No,
pose?
you just have to smile, and then anyone who wants to be in the group shot, then move on in, and I will unpin myself and Candice, and then just I think it'd be really nice to everyone can say that they were here. So let me remove that pin, remove this pin. Yeah, anyone who wants to be in the shot, jump in. And if you don't, then oh yeah, and show us your book if you've got them. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna take a screenshot. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Cheryl, thank you for being head of tech. Candice, thank you for being so amazing. We love you.
Guys, bye.
Have an awesome week. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.